Hello there and welcome back to Build with the Boys. It's time for our weekly catch-up, which is a few days late, I'll give you that. But work's been crazy, I don't know what to tell you. It's just been, it's been nuts. So what have we been doing this week? Well, Titanic was the big one this week. So we had our latest 4 issues of Titanic, which are now up on the channel. And each of those has got a Valentine's themed story at the end of it. So very loosely Valentine's themed. But if you've been enjoying the Titanic stories at the end of our Titanic build, each one this month is themed around love. The love month on the channel is February, so we've been going all out with the Valentine's, the love month. Some interesting stories as well. We got a love story. We got a story about flowers, which is a Valentine's staple. We got a story about chocolate of the Titanic, which is a Valentine's staple. And we have a story about whose knickers went down on the Titanic. Oh my. Which isn't quite as disgusting as it sounds, but check it out. It's been good. Titanic is growing ridiculously at the moment. I mean, I've now got, I don't know, it's got to be nearly 2 foot of deck done at this point, and that's not even halfway. That's not even half of it. I mean, the actual Titanic itself, I believe, is going to come in around about 4.5 foot. So there's a lot more to go, and it's like, we're running out of space for this. It's getting hard to film. It's that big. It's getting hard to film, but it'll be nice. It's good. It's a nice problem to have, and it just makes me smile to look at it now. I can kind of see everywhere you look, you see a new little detail, and that's a lovely thing. And I'm loving building Titanic. The next 4 from Titanic, we are building funnels. So we're building funnel 3, which I don't think we've built. I might have already built funnel 3, but I don't think I have. We're building funnel 3 in the smoke generator, and we're also building funnel 4. Funnel 4 did nothing. So on the Titanic, there were 4 funnels on it. One of them did nothing at all. It did have some minor purposes, but it was put there purely for aesthetic reasons. They thought it made the ship look more powerful if it had 4 funnels as opposed to 3. And I suppose it did. So it did have, I mean, it had very minor ventilation properties, but it wasn't a funnel. It didn't operate as a funnel. It was just there because it was, which shows you the kind of opulence that went into that boat, and no expense spared, except for on lifeboats, of course. But yeah, they wouldn't put on an extra 20 lifeboats, but they definitely build a funnel that does nothing. Amazing, right? So that's what we did on that one. The other big news this week, which the kids are very happy about, is Fan Home have announced that they are doing the Marvel Infinity Gauntlet. So you can get Thanos' Gauntlet, which is quite unique for Partworks because it is a 1-to-1 scale. So as opposed to we're normally doing 1/6 or 1/8, 1/200, whatever, this is as is. So this is the size of the actual Infinity Gauntlet. Now, that doesn't mean it's the size of my fist, because Thanos is supposed to be like 9.5 feet tall. And if you've seen the movie, there's a scene where Spider-Man tries to get the gauntlet off his wrist. And he's got both hands wrapped around it trying to pull the thing off. This thing is bloody huge. We measured it, and I mean, if I put it on my shoulder, it comes to the tip of my finger. This thing is enormous. But it's very pretty, it's very gold and shiny, and we are doing it, so we've signed up to do it. It's on pre-order at the moment. No one really knows when this is coming out. There's a rumour that it's April. I don't know, we've signed up to it. As soon as it comes through, it will be on the channel, and it will be me and Oscar building this one. So unlike the Titanic and Doll's House, where it's just me, this will be more like the videos that I do with Jack, where it's me and him building the R2-D2, and me and Oscar will be building the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, there are 100 issues to the Infinity Gauntlet, so similar to what we do with Titanic talks, we will also be having our heroes and villains talks. So we will be running down our top 50 villains and our top 50 heroes, alternating between the two. So at the end of each video, we will talk about who our 50th favourite villain is, and then on the next one, our 50th favourite hero, and we will run down. So also, if you'd like to know a little backstory of the Marvel Universe, we will go into it on some of these characters. Some of the lesser-known characters are some of our favourites. There are some obvious ones that are going to be on there because they're classics for a reason. But we will go in some of the lesser-known characters and some of the lesser-known villains that maybe it's time for them to get the time to shine. And I know, I mean, for a lot of people, their Marvel is the Marvel movies. That's it. So a lot of the time when these new characters come up, Kang, for example, in the new Ant-Man movie, and also MODOK, they're like, who's that? Whereas we know, we've been reading them for years, so we kind of get excited when we hear some sub-characters then go, ooh, and we look forward to them. So it's a good way to sort of brush up. So the next time one of these pops up in a movie, you can be a smart ass and go, well, I know who that is. But yeah, it's going to be nice. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I know the build isn't going to be an in-depth build. It's not going to be anything like the Titanic, where we're doing these very small, minute details and complicated gears and things like that. It's not going to be that, because it's a glove. After you've built the fingers, you're essentially building a hollow metal tube. It's very intricate. It's got a lot of detailing on it. All of the gems light up. You know what? Let's see some pictures. Let's see some pictures. So it looks nice, right? It's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be a huge thing, and this is one for Oscar. So Oscar's wanted this since he saw it was a thing. And he did say to me, I've mentioned this before, when I said to him, yeah, but it's just a glove, mate. He said, Dad, that glove was my whole life. And I thought, no, it wasn't. You'd be melodramatic there. And I looked at him and thought, you know what? That glove was his whole life. His whole childhood was that glove. I mean, he's 13 this year. When he started watching Marvel, he was 3. And he was obsessed with it. And that wasn't something I did. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I've been collecting comics for decades. And I always kept him away from all my comics and stuff like that, because I didn't want him ripping them up. And I also think you got to let kids find their own ground. Don't try and force your likes onto them. So I never tried to push him onto Marvel at all. Everyone thinks I did. I didn't. What actually did it, this shows how long ago this was Toys R Us. Toys R Us had a massive banner of the Amazing Spider-Man on the side of it, the Andrew Garfield one, the Andrew Garfield movie. And when he was in his pushchair and we walked past it, he would just point and shout. He was obsessed with it. The marketing really worked on him. And he'd just shout, man, every time he saw it. And he was just hooked on Marvel ever since then. And he's been obsessed with it since. So over his childhood, he watched Thanos as a stinger at the end of the Avengers. Gather those gems, move towards it, and so he's right. It was his whole childhood. So if I can do this for him, if this is something I can give him and he can keep for the rest of his life, one, he's got the Gauntlet there. I know that was my childhood, and two, I know it's something he built with his old man, and that's what Building with the Boys was all about. That's how we started. It was just something to do with the kids during lockdown, which is why we call Building with the Boys, and usually on Boyless. That's the name of the reason why the channel's called Building the Boys, is because I've mentioned this before. This is what we did during lockdown. So when people would say to me, how are you handling it? What are you doing? How are you not going mad? I'm just building with the boys. Because this is what we do. We come and retire to our little room and we'd build stuff. Be it models or paper airplanes or treasure maps or whatever. We'd just come and we'd do some craft. That's what we'd do. So that was how I got through lockdown, through building with the boys. And that's why our channel's called Building with the Boys. So even though the Gauntlet, I think, is going to be a dull build, it's got to be. It can't be an exciting build. Even though I think it's going to be a dull build, it's going to be a build that I think is going to mean a lot to me and him, and it's going to be nice to spend the time to do it with him, because he'll be 15 by the time this glove's finished, which is incredible. But he'll be if he's not 15, he'll be very nearly 15 years old by the time I finish this glove, which is crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait at all. There's no word on what's coming from Fan Home. I get asked that more than anything. Any update on Fan Home? No. All we know is that the original release date of February is pie in the sky now. It's April 24th, I believe. That the DeLorean and Eleanor are being released. We still aren't sure when Enterprise and Ecto 1 will be, but they will be. I mean, this is it. So it's don't panic. They will be. We just got to wait out a little longer. It sucks, I know, but we just got to wait out a little longer. And we'll have them finished. So that'll be good. That'll be really good. I'm looking forward to finally seeing Ecto finished. I think all of us are, and I think there'll be something. I don't think it'll be exciting. I think it's going to be quite melancholy when we finish Ecto. I think when that's done and put to bed, I think that's just kind of the end of a lot of things for us. That's the end of our lockdown project, because that's what it was. That's long ago this was. And it'll be the end of a lot of things. I think it will signify the kind of proper end of Eagle Moss. That's them gone at that point as well. So it'll be interesting, but I'm looking forward to just getting that done. I really am. We've got more Disney Doll's House coming up, and Disney Doll's House is looking really nice now, but we are moving upstairs on the next one, so we're starting to put in the ceilings of the ground floor, which essentially make the floor of the second floor. So that's building massively. And beyond that, not really. We've got, I mean, it's going to be a while until Tumblr is here. I think it's at least another 2 weeks until Tumblr turns up. Well, we know what we're building. We're building the bulkhead in 5 and 6. So I think that's where the build properly begins. We've got some more shock absorbers and things like that, and we have the opposite arm to the wheel. I've got the wheel here, I can show you. So I've got this is the wheel that we built, that we have for the first wheel for the tumbler, the size of that bloody thing. And the steering arm there. I know that we get the second of these arms, and I think it's issue 6 or 7. So it looks like that's what we're building. It looks like we're focusing on the front part of the vehicle. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. This thing's going to look gorgeous. It just is. This wheel does it for me. I mean, look at that. It's ridiculously how big that wheel is. It's going to look stunning. It's going to look so good. So we're looking forward to that. But new model-wise, with the exception of the Infinity Gauntlet, it's all been very slow. The news has been very slow about what's coming out. We got some ideas of what's coming, but none of it's fully out or released yet. There's the trials going on with Hachette, but no, we've not heard any more news on the Agora Bond vehicles or anything like that. There is one that, again, I was asked a question about this one. There's a Tintin that's just launched in France. Of the moon buggy. I'll see if I can get a pic. If I've got a pic, you're about to see a pic of it. If I can't find a pic, you're going to see Sid James riding a rally chopper in the 1970s while smoking a pipe. So that's either Tintin or Sid James. I hope it was Tintin. I don't think it's going to come out over here. I don't. That strikes me as incredibly French. And when I say that, I mean with regards to the release. I believe Tintin was Belgian. But it's not. It might. I mean, there is a small chance it's going to come out over here because Tintin did have crossover that a lot of the more European animations didn't have. Ones that did cross over and break through were Tintin definitely did. Asterix to a degree did as well, but I mean Asterix was very French. The Smurfs had success, and obviously so did Moomins, which did make it here. I mean, this is the thing, Moomins was a very European animation, and that's found a foot in here. So who knows, it might, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I can't see that happening. I just can't. I think if you want it, you can definitely import it. But I just can't see that having a UK release. I just can't. I don't think the market's there for it. This will be huge. France, Belgium will be massive. Over here, can't see it. I can't see that being a big hit. Just can't. But who knows? I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. There's been a little bit more rumblings about the Agora Optimus Prime. I thought that was going to be out by now, but no. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not involved in it, so I'm not building it, so I've not really been tracking it that much. But that's got to be imminent. I would imagine that's got to be imminent. They did show some more images of it, and they showed him carrying the axe. Sorry, Transformers fans, I'm sure it's got an actual name. But he does come with the axe, and the axe does have light and sound effects as well. It's a very nice model. It's just not for me. It's not one for me. I'm not that big a Transformers fan. And if I was, I think I favoured the movie version over this one. I just did. I thought the movie, when they trialled by Altair in France last year, I preferred it to this one. Sorry, Agora. I dig your work, but that one's it's just a bit of a misfire for me, that one. But no, I mean, beyond that, there's not a lot coming to the worlds of model news. We are just in the waiting game, the limbo at the moment, if you will, of what comes next. And I hope to have some more news for you soon. I really do. But there's just nothing. There's nothing really going on in the community at the moment. We're just waiting for that. We are waiting very much for the release dates of these things to start happening, so we can start getting into them again. There's someone asked me a question as well about whether or not Fan Home are going to fix the problems with the Enterprise D. I don't know. I didn't build the Enterprise D, so I don't know what the problems were. I believe there were problems with light bleed. There were a lot. I don't know what they were. I didn't build the Enterprise D. And to answer your question on why I didn't build the Enterprise D is because I don't watch Star Trek. I've never watched Star Trek ever. So I'm not going to build a model for the sake of building it. I certainly don't do it to chase views on YouTube. That's not. I'm not gonna buy a $2,000 model to do that. That's not happening. So no, it wasn't for me. It's not something I have an interest in. So I never built it. So I hear things from obviously the community about the Enterprise D, but I don't know. Yeah, it's got a bunch of issues, a bunch of problems. A Fan Home going to fix those? I don't know. Because it wouldn't be Fan Home that fixes them anyway. IXO Models, their partner was the one that made this. So I suppose the ball's kind of in their court on this one. I don't know. I genuinely, I can't tell you. I'm not the guy. There are plenty of guys that can answer that question. Not this one. I ain't the guy. There is a load more coming up on the channel. The crochet is coming. I swear the crochet, I know I keep saying it, but I swear the crochet is coming because my wrist is now completely healed and we have been making the videos. It's just I'm trying to edit like 18 videos so we can put them all up. So the crochet, don't worry, crochet is coming. R2D2 again, we did like 22 parts of R2, so we've just got to edit it all together and that's done as well. But other news as well, before I completely forget, if you've been watching the book nooks that I do from Row Life, we do have the fourth and final one of that series, which is the Secure Denture coming up. That should be coming up next week on the channel. But they have just released another one. So they've just shown previews of another one, which is called Fallen Secure. Take a look. So there is a fifth book nook I've now got to get. That is slightly different than the other ones they've done. That one's a little bit more anime. It's got a little bit more. It's a little bit more cartoony. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'll get it. I mean, I like the book nooks, so I'll get it to build because I enjoy building them. But I don't know how I'm going to feel about that one, to be honest with you. It didn't. I was kind of hoping for something wildly different than what we've already had. So to get another secure book nook was a bit of a letdown, to be honest. I wanted something wildly different. So we've had what are essentially two sort of magic themed ones. We've had the Secure Blossoms one, we've had the Lazy Town one. I was hoping for something, I don't know, maybe fantasy themed. I was hoping for something a bit more industrial. I was hoping for something maybe a little bit more sci-fi, or just wildly different to what we've already had. But no, we've got another Secure one, which I just found to be an odd choice. But it is what it is. The other thing is, I did mention on the last one that the Row Life Drop Tower ride looked like it might be a thing. It is a thing, so that's going to happen. So we are going to have a we're going to have a drop tower. It's going to happen, and I can't wait, man. Really looking forward to it. And it's yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, something I got to say as well. Someone said to me, "Well, your tumbler wheel will never turn unless you loosen that." Nothing's been loosened. My tumbler wheel definitely will turn, as you can see. I figured out how the steering works. I couldn't figure it out, but you could see I'm steering. So yeah, there you go. You can steer the tumbler wheel. It's just got a really weird steering arm on it. Really odd, and you can see there. It's just a bizarre one, but I'm interested to see how the steering's going to work. And why? I mean, because again, we all do this very intricate steering, and we go out of our minds fit in suspension and things like that. And then once it's done, we never steer the wheels with the wheel. Ever. It never happens, but it's nice that it's there and it's nice that it works. What have we been watching? We've been watching The Last of Us still. I know I keep harping on about The Last of Us, but it just gets better and better and better. So episode 5 of The Last of Us was superb. It really was. And again, it was a heartbreaker and a gut punch. Episode 6 is due to be released 2 o'clock this morning. I won't be staying up for that, but I will be watching on my lunch break tomorrow, guaranteed. But it's great. If you've not watched The Last of Us yet, I cannot recommend it enough. It is such a good show. It's the best thing on television. The other thing I've been watching is I have binged The Sopranos. I went back through The Sopranos again, and I've been really enjoying it. It hasn't aged well in some episodes, but that's neither here nor there. The story itself is still pretty epic. I don't know how I feel about season 6. If you've never seen The Sopranos, it was a great show, and then the final season of it tends to let it down a little bit. Quite famously, it's got quite a bad ending, depending on what your opinion on the ending is. But the actual series itself doesn't really set the world on fire. Series 6, it's all right. I mean, it leaves a load of unanswered questions, but other than that, I've been enjoying the hell out of The Sopranos. It's been so good. Movie-wise, I haven't had a chance. I've been so busy, so I haven't really seen any movies this week. I'm gutted. But we are, because we were going to go see Quantum Mania, but just couldn't find the time. So I believe the kid's going with his buddies during half term, so it's probably what I'm going to catch on Disney Plus. And again, there's been a very funny split. So critics hate it, but audiences love it. So critics have given it a score of around about 54%, which just is not great. Whereas audiences are in the high 90s, and they love it. So take from that what you will. I mean, everyone's a critic, but if you like Marvel films, you're gonna like Quantum Mania, aren't you? It just is the way it is. I watched Wakanda Forever. I didn't really enjoy it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really enjoy Wakanda Forever at all. But Quantum Mania, I'm sure, will be fine. It's a Marvel movie. It's a Marvel movie. I think these critics are going in and expecting Citizen Kane. It's like, well, it's a Marvel movie, isn't it? There'll be some CGI threat destroying some CGI planet, building, or city, and then our hero's going to win. That's what happens in a Marvel movie. If you're expecting something else, Marvel movies probably ain't for you, are they? Bit of a weird one. But no, so I've just been busy. I've been absolutely swamped at work. It looks like that's not letting up anytime soon. So it's trying to find times to do things when, you just can't. But hopefully we will. Lots more coming up on the channel, lots more fun stuff, and we will see out Love Month with stories of love. We did do about Valentine's this week as well, which is some of the weird traditions of Valentine's, where they come from. Check that video, check it out, it's quite funny. There's some interesting stories about Valentine's. There is something I've got to finish. I can kind of, I can show you. I have to finish this. I've been doing this for so long and I just haven't finished it. So this is how far I am in Alice's tea shop. So this is the Alice in Wonderland tea shop here. I'm nearly done. I'm so nearly done. But it's just finding the time. It is literally finding an hour here or an hour there. I've been building that forever, but everything keeps getting in the way because work has been nuts since January. It's been crazy. So finding the time to do it has been rough, but yeah, it is what it is. We are doing an Ask Me Anything on the channel. Where you can ask me anything. So it can be, you can ask me something about me, you can ask me about models, you can ask me what's on the shelf. I keep getting asked that a lot. What is that thing on the shelf? Okay, I'll tell you. So if you'd like to ask me a question, you just got to send it to buildingwiththeboys@outlook.com. Title it Ask Me Anything, because I'm going to try not to read any of these questions. Hopefully I'm going to get my wife to write them all down. We'll put them out of a bowl and we'll answer them when they come up. But no, anything at all, because I get asked a lot of questions all the time and I'm constantly trying to find myself to answer them all at the same time. This is the easiest way to do it. I'll just do a video where I'll just answer the lot. So if there's anything you want to know, you can ask. I get asked, what is that? Quite a lot. People ask me what this is up here. I'm happy to tell you. I get asked about what's on the shelf. I get asked about all kinds of things about me, and I'm happy to answer all of it. So we'll do a video where that's what we'll do. We'll just answer all of them. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, again, either pop it in the comments or ideally send it to buildingwiththeboys@outlook.com. We'll stick it in the bowl and we'll get through as many of these questions as we can. That's all from me. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. Please remember to both like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you to everybody that has. Thank you to everybody that subscribed, everybody that supports us. And welcome to all new subscribers to the channel. We'll do what we can do to keep you entertained. That's it. As I said before, in a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And I do mean that. And in Valentine's month particularly, if you have the opportunity to tell someone you love them and just give them that reminder, do it. And we will catch you on the next one.